So yeah, sorry, I was recording, I didn't even say anything. I was just going to go over sort of how I learned and the options I chose and why I chose them and stuff. So like, I was going to do a direct access, but I was completely inexperienced. I'd never ridden a bike before my CVT sort of thing. So I did my CVT, and I opted for lessons. Just because, well, one reason is because I didn't have that time available to take off work in one big lump, and two, because I wanted one-to-one. I just thought I'd get more from it, which I definitely did. And if you're like me and struggle with a bit of like confidence maybe in that sort of it, like learning, trying something new, especially like this, most things I'm alright with, but this I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do a one-to-one. 75 quid for a couple of hours, and yeah, I did about, I want to say six lessons, 6 or 7 lessons, and I was with this, fucking hell, those bumps, I was with a school in Eastbourne, and they were really, really good. I won't mention the school because they might not like me doing that. But yeah, they were absolutely spot on. Really got a lot from it. The teaching style was fantastic. A couple of things I was like struggling with sometimes. Like at one point, she got me to, you know, whatever I was doing, she wanted me to repeat what I'm doing back to her as I'm doing it, and where I'm looking and all this, all at the same time. And I was like, look, that was my first time on a 600, and I thought, do you know what? It's my first time on a 600. It's a little bit much, and I said that to her, and she was just like, all right, sweet, we'll you know, don't worry about that. We'll you know, just change it up, which she did, and it was absolutely spot on. Yeah, so I did like 6 or 7 lessons, did my theory, passed my theory quite well first time, and then did my mod 1. Mod 1 I was more nervous about than my mod 2. I knew I could ride a bike. The thing I didn't like was the slow manoeuvres. I absolutely hated them, and I think a lot of people do. Oh yeah, I was so nervous on that day. But yeah, smashed those two, and it's weird how the thing I struggled with most, I think, during learning was like just my nerves. It's weird how nerves can, how weird they affect you. You know, it's nothing really, is it? Nerves are just nerves. It's just made of shit that hasn't happened. You know, you're worried about falling off, you're worried about something that hasn't happened. Putting your foot down on a mod 1, you're worried about something that hasn't happened. You know, it's weird. It's just, nerves are just a weird thing. So weird, and how it affects you massively. It's annoying that it even exists, but it does. And I just think you've got to try and use it to your advantage. It's hard to do that though, because it's like nerves are there to do the opposite to you in a way, aren't they? Nerves are out to get you, sort of thing. But it might only be, nerves might only be just because you want it so much, you know. I think that was my case. I didn't want to be paying any money again just to do it again, because there was some stupid nerves that made me fail. Yeah, and since passing, I'm trying to think of anything else I struggled with. I'll tell you something that made it really kind of simplified it for me. You've got to be quite simple with me because I'm quite simple. But there was times when I was like doing my observations. It's like, you're doing too much. You're doing too many observations. You don't need to do that many. I'm thinking, how can you do too many observations? And then she said, I'm like, we had a little conversation, and she said, look, whichever way, if you're coming off a roundabout or whatever you're doing, whichever way your handlebars are facing, that's the way you're turning. That's the shoulder you want to be looking over. You know, you're exiting a roundabout. You come all the way around a roundabout, for example. Go back the way you're coming. turn off at your exit, you're turning, you know, you're going to be veering off to the left. So check over your left shoulder. To anybody else listening to this, they're probably thinking, yeah, obviously, you idiot. But it's like, that just kind of stuck with me, and it was just like, yeah, well, okay, wow, that's simple. Hopefully that helps someone, potentially, I don't know. I was just thinking observation, but it's just like, yeah, observations ain't a bad thing, but when you're learning, trying to look too much when you don't have to, you know, just check over the shoulder where your thingies are going, and also obviously when you're pulling away and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, as far as how I'm finding it, the one thing I've had a bit of a wake-up call with is just remembering that I'm not a professional, obviously, and just riding within my ability. I mean, I'm someone that I like speed, I like adrenaline, I like anything dangerous. It's just I've always been like that. But there's times that I've overshot a corner completely over onto the other side of the road, and I'm like, sugar, that could have been bad if something was coming the other way. Luckily there wasn't, but it's, you know, mate, it scares you. And it just makes you think for the next time. Things like that are good, I suppose, as long as you get away with them, because it does wake you up, it does make you think. You ain't invincible, you're not a professional. You're constantly learning on bikes, I think, is something I've learned. It's just the same as driving. As soon as you think you're the best driver in the world, you're asking for trouble. So yeah, that's something that I've really learned, is just take your time. Just be patient, you know. You ain't going to pass your test and be riding the Isle of Man TT like I do. But I think some people think they're invincible. I don't. I really don't. You know, I know friends and stuff that have lost people on bikes. I know it's dangerous, but I've always wanted to do it. I almost didn't do it, to be honest. I almost changed my mind. I thought, this is probably too dangerous. Is it worth it? But it's something I want to do. You only live once, and I'm not going to not do something because of the potential of something happening. It's like, it might not happen, so just get on with it and do it if you want to do it. If you change your mind when you've done it, at least you've got your licence, you can always come back to it. Someone said to me once, another good thing, when I was out, a couple of other bikers said to me, go out with the intention of practicing something. You know, don't go out trying to practice everything. Go out with the intention of practicing your cornering or clutch control, slow manoeuvres, gear changes, you know, smooth gear changes, all that sort of stuff. And that was quite good advice, because cornering is something I want to work on. I'm getting better. I might do a video about that sometime. Definitely getting better. You know, they teach you in your lessons and stuff to look where you're going, and when you say that to people, look where you're going, they're like, well, yeah, obviously, mate. But it's not as simple as that. You know, I could be looking 6 feet in front of me, and that's technically where I'm. Oh shit, that's gravel. That's technically where I'm going. But you want to be looking where you're going, like out of the corner, where the road disappears up there into the trees. That's where I want to be looking, and it makes such a difference. I don't think people will quite understand. People that don't ride or haven't, you know, like learning themselves, won't quite understand what you mean. But it's weird. Sometimes I can go out and feel really good and really confident with it, and then other times it's like I've completely forgotten. Yeah, it's weird. Cheers, brother. So yeah, going out with the intention of working on one thing is good. Filtering, you know, take yourself into a town and work through some filtering. I'm a lot more confident with that. Last time I would have just sat in, first time I went out I would have just sat in traffic, not anymore. Fuck that, so I got a bike. But yeah. If you're thinking about doing it, all I can say is just do it. Because you end up being like me, where every summer it comes around and you see people on bikes and you think, oh, I've got to learn to get a bike, I've got to learn to get a bike. Then you'll change your mind. Then another summer will come around and you'll think, oh, I want to get a bike. I put it off for I did that for like 4 years straight. Until I finally just said, do you know what, I'm just going to do it. I did it. And I did it and I didn't look back. Haven't looked back, don't regret a single thing. I don't think you will regret a single thing. If you change your mind once you've done it, because of any whatever reason, I don't know, at least you can say is you've learnt a new skill, you know, that you've got forever. I don't know if he's putting his thumb up to say I can pass, but I'm not passing right now, bro. It's nice when people move over like that, but it's like, I'll do it when I'm ready, sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah, that's how I found, I don't know if you probably can't hear me at all. I've probably been saying all this stuff and you can't even hear me. But yeah, that's how I found it. If I could recommend anything, do lessons. If you like me. I just want that one-to-one sort of stuff. If not, do a DAS obviously. But I feel like you get a lot more from a one-to-one. And just do it. Once you do it, you won't look back, trust me.